Did you know Microsoft has officially ended support for Windows 10? Upgrade to Windows 11 with an LG Gram laptop. Voted PC Mag's Reader's Choice Top Laptop Brand for 2025. Thin and ultra lightweight, the LG Gram keeps you productive anywhere. And Windows 11 gives you access to free security updates and ongoing feature upgrades. Visit lgusa.com/iHeart for great seasonal savings on LG Gram laptops with Windows 11. PC Mag Reader's Choice used with permission. All rights reserved.
Happy holidays. Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a happy holiday.
This is your Chargers linebacker, Dan Henley, and you're tuning in with Chargers Unleashed.
Welcome to another edition of Chargers Unleashed. Jake Hefner and Dale Wolkenstein here with you from the LAFB Network. If this is your first time tuning in the show, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Dan Wolkenstein, happy New Year's Eve to you, sir. Happy New Year's Eve to everyone in the chat. We're going to do something a little bit differently tonight. Obviously, we didn't get a chance to do our full-blown recap show from the Chargers and Houston Texans game, but as it got closer to December 31st, Dan and I were talking. We thought to ourselves, like, look, we always know that we love the live platform of the show. We always love giving the controls over to you guys in the chat, to you guys who are viewing at home. And so this is going to be a hodgepodge of topics. You want to talk Chargers football? Let's have at it. You want to talk non-Chargers related comments? Let's go. You want to talk NFL draft? By all means. Do we want to spin a yarn of our favorite whiskey brands? I'm all ears. This is going to be an hour-long show of basically AMA to close out 2025. I know Dan and I will probably be recapping some of our favorite moments that we have had throughout this year as well, but let's just have some fun over the next hour. Let's talk football. Let's talk New Year's Eve festivities. What are we doing? What are we drinking, as Dan likes to say? Dan, have you started your libation intake at all? I know it's 3:33 p.m. in California, but I know it's, 5:33 somewhere, or in some cases it's, 6
2026
somewhere. People are already probably ringing in the new year. I myself am starting. Why not?
Attaboy.
Highlands single malt Scotch whiskey. I am polishing this off on the show tonight. Absolutely.
I have not had a libation yet, but that will be coming soon.
Well, maybe you should start, bub.
Today, Junior. Yes. Happy New Year to you as well, my friend. Been through a ton together, and excited we've got to close out another year together. We're going into year 6.
Crazy.
Whoa. Year 6.
Year 6 of doing this show with Dan. Technically, it's year 3 under the Chargers Unleashed banner, but yeah, going into year 6 is pretty wild.
Absolutely nuts. Folks in the chat, you heard Jake. This one's for you, fam. Whatever topics you guys have, bring them in. We have some voicemails here on the hotline that we're going to get to post Texans loss, and we'll get to that. Recap a little bit as we go through here and go through those voicemail to kind of see what people are feeling like, what the vibes were, which I think we all kind of know. I do like this as a start, though, Jake.
That's a great start.
Before we get to anything else, you and I think probably most folks that cover this Chargers team have been through the ringer when it comes to hearing about the fans and hearing about opposing teams and, all that. It rang so loud and so true that the Bolt fam had arrived to that Texans game, and to see the flood of powder blue and the royal blue and the navy blue and the sunshine yellow, whatever the hell they call that color these days, to see SoFi rocking at certain points of that game. Now, I wish it was more because the first quarter kind of took the wind out of some of the sails, but towards the end of that game, you started to see it. That crowd came alive, and talk about bittersweet. Daniel Bridges says he was at the game, 90-10 Chargers fans. It was a brutal defeat and a terrible Greg Roman play calling day. I'm going to focus on the first half of that. This is the world we're living in now, where Chargers go to the playoffs 2 years in a row, 11-win season at least, 2 years in a row. Jim Harbaugh 2 years in, and you've got the belief, you've got the fan base rocking, and SoFi jamming. And so shout out to all of you who went to the game. Shout out to everyone who made that the game that they went to, and to make your voices heard. Because I don't really think other fan bases can say shit after that. Like, winning cures a lot, right? But culture matters too. And this team has a belief from this fan base that I think rang true at SoFi.
I thought it was so cool to see Daniel Popper's tweet in that first quarter, where he basically said, I have never heard SoFi sound like this. It was really just to just put it in a microcosm out of everything else that ended up happening in that Houston Texans game. Chargers fans showed up. They showed up. It felt like you were watching a playoff game. It really did. I know it's kind of been playoffs atmosphere seemingly these past several weeks leading up to the postseason, but it definitely felt like that. And so it was great to experience that, even from just viewing it on television. I remember when I went to the Philly game, and it was quite the opposite, because it was more like 60-40, 70-30 Eagles fans to Chargers fans that were at that game. So again, even in a loss, it was awesome just to hear that, to see that when the camera would pan around, of everyone that showed up for this team.
Yeah, Bandar says, I actually saw Stroud having to cover his helmet ear holes to hear the play. Yeah. It was.
Has there ever been a quarterback that's needed to do that in the history of the Chargers playing at SoFi?
Other than Justin Herbert having to do it at times?
Yes.
Yes. Crazy. So awesome vibes there. Unfortunately, couldn't get it done, but we'll talk about that in a second here, Jake. Before we get to anything further, let's pay the bills. Let's talk about our friends over at Sleeper.
The NFL postseason is literally right around the corner. One more week to go, which means you now have another chance to win up to 1,000 times your cash on daily fantasy football with Sleeper. Football has never been more exciting than it is right now. If you pick on these stars and these stats to win on these, you have for touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more, for up to 1,000 times payout on Sleeper. You get your picks right on the players you select, you could win big. Just you make sure to use the promo code Chargers LAFB, and you can get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper terms of use for details. Currently operating in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Normally I plug Justin Herbert into that ad read, but considering the fact that we know Justin Herbert is not playing this Sunday against the Denver Broncos, given the fact of playoff implications, seeding. We still don't know what's going to end up happening. But in the big picture of things, I think everybody was pretty happy with that decision. Justin Herbert has been hit more than any other quarterback in the NFL, is still battling that injured, broken left hand. It seemingly is getting better, but hey, you know what? It'll be nice to have a week where it's not getting hit seemingly every 30 seconds.
Ain't that true? There is nothing, absolutely nothing that is more important that can come from this Sunday's game against Denver that is more important than getting Justin Herbert healthy. Not playoff seeding, not a win, not vibes, nothing. None of that matters as much as getting Justin Herbert as healthy as possible for the playoffs. And
I'll admit,
in my opinion,
go ahead. It was the right decision. Is that what you're going to say?
yeah. One, it was the right decision. And two, I hope all of his merry friends are just chilling. I want Derwin in street clothes. I want Mac in street clothes. I want all of them in street clothes. Like, you and me should suit up for the Chargers on Sunday. I don't care. Like, that, while they did lose that game against the Texans, they came out of it unscathed. And to me, like, that was like second most important thing. Like, okay, if you can get a win, cool. If you can get out of there healthy, also pretty damn cool. So we'll get into what we're expecting here for this upcoming game. Folks in the chat, if you have questions or thoughts, things you'd like us to discuss, Chargers or non-Chargers related, put them in the chat. We will do our best to answer throughout. We'll kind of sprinkle them in. Do you feel... Actually, let's pause. Chargers, Texans. Texans win. Chargers lose. How would you compare contrast that game against the Texans versus the game they lost a year ago?
Well, there was more than one player catching the football, so that was a nice start for sure. What can you say about Justin Herbert, man? Regardless how that game ended out, we can talk all day about the missed opportunities. I know there was a lengthy discussion, obviously, about the officiating in that game. In my opinion, it never should have mattered in the first place, given the opportunities that you didn't capitalize on earlier in the game. But dude, that drive of Justin Herbert,
so sick.
To take out a defender on a run with using the broken left hand that he had and continue to run another 10 yards. To be able to stay upright in the grasp of a defender and deliver a strike to Quentin Johnson to move the sticks on that touchdown drive, that was a Superman drive from him, man. And I know that it sucks to talk about it in a loss, but I just really hope, and you've heard some more, especially from mainstream commentators that really talk about it when they just always look at the only thing that matters is playoff wins. Justin Herbert is one of the toughest quarterbacks in the NFL. And this is not, this may be like the icing on the cake. We've seen him play through injuries several times. This is nothing new to Chargers fans or people that cover this team. But when you think about everything that he has had to go through, from getting hit, from getting sacked, from going through the injury, from not missing time, that's a leader. And I remember the piece that Daniel Popper wrote when Dante Jackson walked into the locker room the Wednesday after the Raiders game, after he suffered that broken left hand, and he was fearing the worst. And Justin Herbert said, no, I'm going to play. Like, I'm ready to go. That mindset feeds that locker room. And you build off of that for sure. So say what you will about Justin Herbert, you can never question that man's toughness.
No. And when I look at that game versus what we saw in the playoffs last year, right? Like, they both lost. They both were losses. Both of them had like the early haymakers. Probably that one clearly a little bit earlier than what happened in the playoffs. But what I saw this time, which actually led me to be a little bit conflicted, was we can separate the first 5 minutes on defense, or just the first 5 minutes in general, from the rest of the game. But the Chargers team did not quit. This Chargers team did not fold. This Chargers team did not get bullied around on defense. This Chargers team kept coming after it, and they kept taking punches and giving punches and taking punches and giving punches. And while the first game against Houston last year in the playoffs felt like they got their ass kicked. Period. Like there's no other way around it. Like that was it. This game felt different. This game felt more like we know the offensive line issues, like clearly. But it felt more like one, the fluke mistakes just crippled them from start to finish. And more importantly than that was just like there was clearly self-inflicted mistakes that caused this win to turn into a loss. Like it wasn't just the offensive line being awful, right? Like it didn't just completely fold over the game. Like Justin Herbert, the offense kind of rallied, adjusted in the second half. Like they started moving the ball more. They started to kind of get more creative. They were running it. They were being able to withstand some third downs. Like they were going after it. But you look at the number of mistakes and miscues that they had in that game, and yet still lost by just 4. And again, there is no silver lining here. Like I'm not trying to puff anyone's underwear here, but like a missed kick by the most accurate kicker in NFL history, a missed extra point by the most accurate kicker in NFL history, a surefire drop turned into interception that probably would have been a touchdown by Arondé Gadsden, completely changes the narrative of this game. There were so many. The defensive blunders, those first 2 series on defense, where you're giving up 7 plays, 160 yards, and 2 touchdowns or something. That was a different team where they battled till the end, and it felt like there just wasn't enough time left to come back. Versus, like, please just wave the white flag. And so that gave me a lot of. I don't want to be the optimist here, but it gave me it gave me more just like, okay, like they can take more punches, right? They're not laying down on the mat. Like they're getting back up. And so that was a crazy long-winded answer, but it just felt different. Like that loss felt different. And the response the team had after those haymakers was something that I think will be very valuable come playoff time.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, obviously, you wish you would have been able to secure that win. You would hope that you'd be going into this game against Denver to where it actually meant something to possibly be in contention to be first place in the AFC West, something that you haven't been in a very long time. But at the same time, again, Dan, you were doing several tweets on this throughout the game talking about Murphy's Law.
Jeez.
Murphy's Law normally comes when the Chargers enter the playoffs. We saw it last year against Houston. We saw it in the Jacksonville game. We've seen Murphy's Law happen in plenty of Chargers games in years past. Like you, I don't want to necessarily be like the silver lining of it, but I think that there is something in experiencing a game like that, even that you only lost by 4, and to say, okay, we lost that one. This is how it was done. These are the mistakes that we made. Still a regular season game. And it's literally right on the cusp of when the playoffs start.
Yeah.
So you know for sure that you can't go into, I don't care who your opponent is, you can't go into that game and not execute. You can't have those drop passes or those missed kicks or those missed opportunities to score when your defense gets you turnovers. So, call me the optimist. Maybe there is something there in experiencing a very stressful game, but looking back on it to stay from the standpoint, like, shit, remember when the Giants went toe-to-toe with the New England Patriots in the last game of the season when they were going in their undefeated streak? You don't think that did something for them, even in a loss, when they met them a few weeks later in the Super Bowl?
That matters.
There's something to take away from it there.
There is. TNT Adventures to See. So who do you think we'll have in the wild card, and what's our odds? Jake, what say you?
The highest odds right now, if we're expecting the Chargers to go to Denver and lose that game, given the fact that Justin Herbert is not playing, it looks like it would be New England. Now, it could shift based off of things that happen with the Bills, things that happen with the Texans and the Jaguars. So nothing's still set. Technically, the Chargers would have to have a lot to happen in order for them to get like the 5 seed. It's number one, they'd have to win the game in Denver with Trey Lance. That's number one. But they'd have to have a number of different things happen for that to even change. But right now, it looks like you most likely would end up with the 7th seed and play New England first round of the playoffs.
Which, before folks come at me with you said that about Houston last year and look what you got.
Not underestimating New England by any stretch of the imagination.
No, not at all. But if you look at the other teams, or before you look at the teams, when you look at what teams give the Chargers the worst headaches, what do they all have in common?
This year, they all played in the AFC South. Even in a win against Tennessee, you still put yourself in the weirdest 14-point hole I've ever seen to start that game. You had to come back and win it because it was what? It was the pick six, and then it was the kickoff return. And before you knew it, Tennessee was up by 2 scores. For some reason, the water in the AFC South has delivered the Chargers 3 of their most toughest losses that they've had to endure this year. The Colts, the Jaguars, and the Texans. I get it from that standpoint to say, I don't want to see that defense again, especially with the offensive line that the Chargers have. But look, it's playoffs, man. It's playoffs. I will sit here today and I will tell you that Jacksonville loss turned the tide for this team. Even with what you want to say about what happened last week against the Houston Texans. We talked about that gauntlet that the Chargers were going to have to run on just to get to the playoffs. And they were able to do it. Obviously, you took out the Raiders, but then you took out Philly, you took out Kansas City, then you took out Dallas when you needed to, and your defense really picked up the ball, ran with it, and set the tone for where this team is right now. And to be perfectly honest, as we get closer to the playoffs, you're going to be getting some certain players back, certain players healthy at the right point in time. You get Justin Herbert healthy back. This team's going to be ready to play, and I don't care who is standing on the opposite sidelines, to be honest.
Yeah. What has been the biggest Achilles heel for this Chargers team has been going up against defenses with great fronts. And you look at the AFC playoff picture, and it's littered with them. Pittsburgh is looking to get TJ Watt back this week, by the way, potentially. So you got the Pittsburgh front. You got the Jacksonville front, which we saw that live and in color. You saw the Texans front live and in color. You saw the Broncos front live and in color. On and on and on and on. Again, I'm not dismissing this New England Patriots team and their success and their efficiency and what Drake May has turned into, who's an absolute stud. It's a good team. I'd rather play that team than the ones that I've seen give Chargers headaches for the last 2 years. Jake, here's an interesting one. CJH0685. Telesco did a better job of building the offensive line than Ortiz.
Well,
now, I would immediately say that's wrong, but Jake, leave the floor.
I was only going to say, well, maybe if Telesco drafted as well as Ortiz, he'd still be the GM, but that's not the case anymore. That's my rebuttal for it.
Yeah. Sergio replies, can't say that, bro. We got Super Bowl winning Mekhi Becton. No one would have guessed he would be a bust. And both our tackles out. Should have gotten a center, although Andre James MIA.
Well, you're going to see him this week against Denver.
That'd be nice.
You're going to see him this week against Denver.
I understand the offensive line woes. But to me, the offensive line woes this year are so much more because of the injuries to your 2 all-world tackles than they are about them being unable to draft a center in the 4th or 5th round. The Mekhi Becton signing, we all loved it. And I think I would still love it if he was next to Joe Alt or Rashawn Slater. Period. We have 2 force multipliers on this Chargers team that were taken away. You can't predict that. You want to blame Joe Ortiz for drafting Joe Alt because he's injury prone? You're gonna say that? Look who drafted him, okay? So I understand the heat that Joe Ortiz gets for the interior offensive line. And the interior offensive line has been pretty bad for most of the season. But let's just keep it real, okay? And we're not even comparing Joe Ortiz to Jim Harbaugh here. Joe Ortiz, to Tom Telesco. Tom Telesco's best offseason, including the draft and free agency, doesn't hold a candle to this birthday cake that
No.
Joe Ortiz has done.
No.
Not even close.
Maybe the best draft that Tom Telesco had was his last.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Quentin Johnston, Tooley, and Deion Henley were his top 3.
Mm-hmm.
If he had
Sergio.
more drafts like that, he could still be around. But we've gone through this with Joe Ortiz and what he has done draft-wise to build this team up, especially from a depth perspective, man. It's like you can't just get winners and first-round picks and expect that to be a long-term solution. You can't do that. So I love what Joe Ortiz has done from the draft perspective. And hopefully when it comes to building this offensive line for the future, because again, you can never predict injuries. And when they do happen, you just got to roll with it. There's nothing that you can do about it. It's time for someone to step up. It's time for the coaches to come up and coach them. And to what Dan's talking about here, we've known that Joe Alt was going to be the left tackle of this team since before the season started. You should have gotten something better out of it.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's perfect, but
yes,
let's keep it 100 here. Scotty says everyone has injuries. Tired of blaming everything on injuries. Okay, so agreed, but and this is where I think sometimes like the extremism of fandom, I think gets a little carried away here. Like we're not talking about a team that has been crippled with injuries and missed the playoffs in a lottery pick for the first round in the NFL draft. Everyone has injuries. The Chargers team still has 11 wins despite those injuries. So it's not like, so typically, previously, Chargers don't make the playoffs. Chargers win 4, 5, 6, 7 games. And it's because of the injuries. It's because of the lack of depth and excuses after excuses after excuses. That's not the case right now. And I think you can honestly say the difference between the 11-win Chargers team of 2025 and the 14 possible Chargers victories would be because of injuries. Like, yes, there are some other unfortunate things that happens, but they have won 11 games despite that. So they're not blaming it on the injuries. We're just saying the difference between 11 wins, which again is like a miracle to me, and what they could have been if they didn't have those injuries. You're still winning 11 games. You're still in the playoffs. And the biggest excuses and the biggest injuries, the Chargers were better than their biggest excuses. So, like, let's keep it real here, right? Like, they're going to the playoffs with the crippling injuries. So, perspective. Anything in the chat, Jake, want to get to before we get to some voicemails?
Let's take a look in the chat. I saw
Trayvon Diggs news yesterday.
Or you mean today? Or yes, yesterday. Green Bay already picked him up. Green Bay already scooped him up.
I have been away from.
But honestly, let's just say he wasn't scooped up by Green Bay. I would actually say no to this answer for a variety of reasons. I really think if you were just to isolate evaluating the Chargers cornerback group that they have had, just the secondary as a unit in its entirety, that is an impressive unit, man. It is filled with a good combination of veterans and young guys that have really just stepped into their roles extremely well. When you look at how it's been led by Derwin James, by Tony Jefferson, how Tarheeb still has continued to perform and grow. I think this is definitely a better year for Cam Hart than even what he had in his rookie year. And that was an impressive year, even still.
Yeah. Look at
what RJ Mickens has done in a short period of time. He was essentially the reason, outside of the need that you had for pass rush in the Odafe trade and trading away Alohi Gilman, because they were comfortable enough from what they have seen from a 6th-round rookie to make that move. And he hit the ground running after that trade was done. So this team is extremely confident in their DBs. And just wait and see, especially if we're talking about guys like Nico Reed that end up developing into something special a little bit later down the line. I'm excited for just even if we're talking about a possible post-Jesse Minter time frame with this team, because I still think that Steve Clinkscale would be the heir apparent in that particular case, I'm excited to see what this defense has for the future. As much as we want to talk about to say, like, oh, imagine what the Chargers would be like if they had Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt healthy with this offensive line. Just think about, again, regardless of where this season ends for the Chargers, with one playoff win, with two playoff wins, however far they go, this team is set up for a very long-term future. And the reason that you can say that is not just from what we've seen from the players on the field, from the message that's been sent, from the coaching staff that is there, but one of the Achilles heels for the longest time was this front office and how they built the team during the offseason. A lot of that has been corrected. A lot of that is things that this team has not had in close to 20 years. So regardless of how this season ends, it was a gritty year. And as Dan said, they made the playoffs despite having the injuries that they had. They overcame a lot to get where they got. So I think we talked about this a little bit last week. Someone had asked, is this season a success? And I would think that if you were to just take it from the regular season perspective, just like that, you could say, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, and I think a lot of people would agree, that success would mean you've got to get Justin Herbert a playoff win. And that's on the cusp. We're hopefully going to see that here in the next 2 weeks. That needs to be done. He's 0-2 in the playoffs. We need to get one. But in the big picture of things, when you just talk about guys that you have lost for certain points of the year, or guys that have been out the entire year, and how to adapt, I mean, getting your quarterback hit the most of any other signal caller in the NFL the way it is, and he keeps on coming, and he keeps on making impressive drives or impressive throws, that's something, man. It really is.
Yep. Andre James in the chat. A lot of folks looking for Andre James.
Look, I will not get off my soapbox as it relates to Andre James, because I personally thought when that free agent move was done in the offseason, shortly after the Mekhi Becton signing, that was going to be your starting center coming into this year. I really just did not think that they were actually going to go through with having the exact same interior, say for Mekhi Becton, that you had, given what you saw in that Houston Texans playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
But shows how wrong I can be.
All right, let's get some of these voicemails real quick. Most of these were after all of these were after the Texans game. Some of them immediately after, some of them a couple days after. Haven't heard any of them, so let's just kind of go through this in no particular order. First voicemail.
My reaction to the first two drives. Goodbye.
Yeah, that was all of us.
Oh, man. Talk about someone following the rules, as Dan likes to say, just like try to keep your voicemail under a minute, this, that, and the other. That summed up so much in about 10 seconds.
So much pain. And it was unfortunate, too. I'll talk about it real quick, briefly. Like, we talked about the pregame, Jake, like, previewing that game. The one thing that would have been, like, the worst-case scenario for this Chargers team to start out this game is you give up a quick lead to the Texans at home, take the crowd out of it. Yeah. And, like, they said, hold my beer. They doubled up on it.
And it was just so uncharacteristic of this defense. You hadn't seen them do those type of things or have those type of mental lapses all season. They were so good at preventing explosive plays like that, which, again, I'm glad that it happened in week 17 and not a playoff game. I know it felt like a playoff game. It had all the inklings of a playoff game.
But it wasn't.
But I'm glad that it wasn't.
Yep. Next voicemail.
Ray from San Diego. Boys, what the actual charge? What is going on?
He tried so hard to not drop the F word there.
What the actual...
He was so ready. And the word that he came in to replace it with was perfect. What in the actual charge?
52 seconds left for the half. Goodness gracious. It's like they
Ooh, the worst part is he said 14-3. This is right before they missed the field goal.
Yep.
Because there are 50 seconds left. Oh boy, he's in for it. I wonder if he calls back.
They're beating us with our own game. What's going on here? Good God. Oh, interception. Great. We get the ball.
It was right. He got it live. Oh, that's perfect.
The half. Still, tying this shit up. They caught us on the wrong foot. I have faith in this fucking team.
I have faith in this Chargers team.
Continue to have faith in this Chargers team. Yeah, Dan, we talked about like the missed opportunities. I mean, they were one off from my bold prediction. Remember, we were going into that against Houston. I said that wouldn't it be poetic if CJ Stroud had 3 interceptions, because everybody wanted to highlight the fact. And personally, I thought that Amazon was kind of doing the Chargers dirty there at the beginning, because they were literally just recapping everything that happened to the Chargers in the previous year against Houston, talking about their playoff losses, Justin Herbert not winning a playoff game, this, that, and the other. And I said to you, wouldn't it be poetic if CJ Stroud had multiple interceptions? Well, he had 2 in the first half.
He's still,
and they were on back-to-back drives. And I was hoping, like, oh my God, maybe he's going to throw a third. No, but to get only 3 points off of those 2 turnovers, it was rough to watch.
I mean, think about it. This Chargers team, they should have had, I mean, again, shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? But that Gadsden catch should have been caught. The extra point, clearly. The field goal at the end of the half
should have been. Which Orlando Gadsden catch are you talking about? The one on the sidelines or the one right outside the end zone? I mean, just take your pick. There was just multiple mistakes that you can look back on and say could have changed the game.
Immediate points. And if we just look at the points from Dicker the kicker, that's 4 points. That's a tie ball game if he doesn't miss those 2. Like, it was just, again, Murphy's Law. It was just Murphy's Law. A lot of people talk about Thule. Yeah, Thule's about to get paid, dude.
Stud.
Unreal. Yes, the Chargers have a lot of money to spend, but they got a lot of dudes to pay up on. I love the comment in here. Like, I'm absolutely using that. What in the actual charge? Yes, I agree. I'm with you. All right, next voicemail. So we got to say,
hey, this game.
Hey.
Hey, this game.
I don't know what's so great about
the opening of that. Greg Roman needs to be fired after the season.
Oh, okay. After the season, all right. We'll table that.
Yeah, our defense put up a hell of a fight after giving up 14 points.
Big caveat. Big caveat going up against Texans. Put up a hell of a fight after they gave up the 14 points in 5 minutes.
Definitely not on Herbert this game. Obviously.
Yeah, I said this out on X, but like, this was the game where all of the folks who have their anti-Herbert agendas will tell on themselves.
Yeah.
And they did.
Obviously, that pick from Gadsden should have been a pass. Should have put us to 10 points. I don't know, man. It just fucking sucks!
Yikes.
Damn it! I'm sorry.
He was so kind to apologize afterwards. The difference in the frustration to be like, I'm sorry.
We should have won.
Oh, God, I feel it, man.
Hey.
I hear it. I hear it. I understand it. Man, oh, man.
Oh, man. Let's see. Abdullah says, Nick Wright told on himself like crazy, saying Herbert played poorly. Like I said, they'll tell themselves.
He tried to give more credit to his team to say that the Denver Bronco fans should have been embarrassed for how they played the Kansas City Chiefs last week. It's just whatever narrative Nick Wright wants to push. That's because he can't talk about the Kansas City Chiefs right now. Let's keep that in mind.
It kills him.
So what does he do when he can't talk about it? He's going to rag or bring down the performance of other teams.
Yep. Jim Harbaugh burn. Paying Thule would absolutely charge us. Yes. Look, so I talked about it earlier. I do think that there is a roster building conversation to be had about, is it, what's the word? Not reasonable. Is it smart GMing to pay 3 edge rushers. Think about it. Like, you got Thule, who's going to get paid. Khalil Mack, if he comes back, is going to get paid. And Odafe Owe, who, again, probably trade of the season if he comes back. How much are you putting towards those 3 edge rushers? Like, should Joe Ortiz pay 3 edge rushers? Different question, but different day for that question. But I don't know if they should.
No.
I don't know. It's tough.
Probably not. It is tough when you have 3 guys of that caliber that are all performing so well on the season. And remember what they said about the Bengals last year when they were talking about, like, there's no way that they're going to be able to bring back, T. Higgins and I don't know why the linebacker Hendrickson, and have all these big free agents that they sign when they notoriously don't sign their free agents from that franchise. Somehow or another, they still did it. But when you can't have that type of, I don't want to say like irresponsibility, but that's not how you build a roster properly. I get it. We all, first of all, it'll be interesting to see whether or not Khalil Mack comes back. Again, I would have said prior to the season, after he was signing the 1-year deal, that this was going to be it. But the dude just doesn't look like he's slowing down. So I think it's more so going to be on his mindset of where he is and whether or not he's going to want to continue to play. Outside of that, I don't see a world at all where all 3 of them come back. There's just no way. And there is a plenty of good, and I'm talking deep group of edge rushers that if you were to say to me, like, okay, if you brought back Thule and whether or not you're going to sign Odafe Owe to a new contract, there are plenty of edge rushers in this draft or possible free agent targets that you can get, that you can build a new unit around Thule. For sure. There is multiple different avenues that we can go through when it comes to what you do with the edge room in 2026.
Fun fact. I had to look this up to make sure. Odafe Owe ran a 4.36 his pro day. 4.3640. For reference, Lado Concu is a 4.39. And that's real. I don't know if that's real
disgusting. I think that was actually on display when you saw him cover a running back on that out route on the sidelines. That's wild.
6'5", 257.
Dude is a 4.36 monster.
That's crazy.
Monster.
It would be awesome. It would be awesome if this Chargers team gave Khalil Mack that swan song. Like, that'd be awesome. Like, give him the ring, let him go out like that. Like, that'd be sick. I'm not getting ahead of myself, but like, that would be great.
I mean, it would be great. And I know that I don't disagree with it. And everybody obviously has said multiple times, I've seen it here in the chat, as far as, that this team is only going to take us as far as their offensive line goes. And that's accurate. That's 100% accurate. That's been the tale that we have seen, unfortunately, from this team throughout the year. It's nothing new. It's not a recent trend. That is a fact. But there's something just, I started thinking about the year that Peyton Manning won his first Super Bowl with the Colts. And the one thing that really hindered them in the regular season was their defense. And then all of a sudden in the playoffs, it was like something switched. And their defense just came alive and took them all the way to the Super Bowl. I'm not putting a lot of stock into the possibility, given the fact of who the starting offensive line is for the Chargers. Obviously, I carry more weight to it, given the fact of who the signal caller is and who number 10 is and what he can do in making the unbelievable believable. But I'll tell you this, it'd sure be nice to like have the offensive line like maybe limit it to, 1 sack or 2 sacks a game rather than just constant pressure on 10. Give him some type of time that he can make some plays, get some points up on the board, and really just change the entire narrative that we've seen. But that's going to probably remain a dream, unfortunately. So it will be on the shoulders of 10 and everyone else outside of the offensive line and the defense to get it done.
Yeah, Hugo Boss, draft BPA, which I would just say draft BBA. Best blocker available. Best blocker available. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised given what their needs are that they don't go edge in round 1. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Because you can get interior offensive linemen round 2, round 3, round 4. Like good, great starting ones. So we'll see. We'll see.
The kicker here with the interior defensive line class, it's actually pretty similar the way that it was last year, where you had a bunch of players that were actually played tackle throughout their collegiate careers, but given their measurables, that they were being considered to kick in the inside. Dan, I remember that. You had Tate Ratledge, that was just such a versatile offensive lineman for where they were running him between the guard spot. Could he play tackle? Could he play center? And he's just kind of that Swiss Army knife that he has become. But there's going to be a lot more players like that in this particular draft that some say, if they've played tackle throughout their whole college career, well, they could actually come in and play guard, or they could play center, however creative some offensive coordinator wants to be with them. So you're going to have a pretty good shot at certain interior offensive linemen in this class, I think. I would have my favorites over others, especially in the first round, depending on where the Chargers end up landing position-wise. But yeah, free agency. I think that you will not see the same mistake made twice from Joe Ortiz as far as getting after the offensive lineman pretty early. And you should see the exact same strategy taken early on in the first 2 rounds of the draft.
Abdullah 1558. Get me Linderbaum, please. I can't have Bozeman again. Look, I think it's pipe dream.
Yeah.
I think it's pipe dream. Yes, he's a free agent. So is Thule. Do you think he's walking? Now, different positions, but I just think that would be malpractice if you let him go. Yeah, I don't think they do make that mistake again. Come hell or high water, honestly, they got to get these guys right on the interior.
Dan, I know that we created the whole premise of this show as far as giving the controls to everybody in the chat. If it's Charger-related topics that they want to talk about, if it's non-Chargers topics that they want to talk about, if it's draft talk they want to talk about, hell, if you guys have New Year's plans, we got about 15 minutes left in this show. Fire them off as quickly as you can. Whatever it is you guys want to talk about, I don't care. What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite drink? What are you having tonight? Dinner plans. What is it? New Year's resolutions. Drink? What are they? Well, at the moment, it's still this Scotch bourbon. No. This is the second glass.
Okay,
this is the second glass. And trust me, there will probably be about another 4 or 5 that are consumed before the night's over. But right now, this is my favorite. If you're asking me, in general, what's my favorite bourbon, Eagle Rare is definitely at the top. If you're wanting something a little bit more pricey and spicier, Booker is definitely good for that. You could definitely start a car after you drink just a glass of that one for sure. Or if you want to do one of those, hit the lighter right outside your mouth and just blow some air. That's a very good one. So if that's something that you're looking for, that would be the one I would target.
Jim Harbaugh burn. My prediction: we're make the rated team the wild card round and beat the Patriots 27-20. Herbert makes the MVP race look silly after he blows him out of the water.
Be cool.
I mean,
it would be cool. Would love it.
Yep. Hugo Boss. New Year's plans? I'm just getting hammered for the last time because I'm quitting alcohol completely. Atta boy.
Hey. Well, if you're going cold turkey and you're gonna do that, then by all means go out with a bang.
Yep. Let's see. TNT's Venter. Tequila's in a Bolt family. Let's stick together and keep this team in our prayers. 100%. Look, man, this has been a crazy year. This has been an absolute crazy year. The roller coaster. By the way, Jake, I haven't even talked about this yet, but a little birdie tells me that we're going to be talking to a Chargers player here on an upcoming episode.
Who said that?
I don't know. The bird. That one.
The bird said it.
The bird. TNT. Also, my wife and I watch a lot of Chargers podcasts, but y'all the shit. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I love the butt.
Appreciate it.
I love the butt.
But
yes, Darth. I still don't know what this means. Do you know what this means?
No, but it's become.
Do I say that? Do I say dang it?
No, but it's become a very recurring phrase on this show as far as how people refer to you. Darth Dan.
No, Darth Dang. Darth Dang it.
But look at the DAN.
No,
That is. Yeah,
do I say
just
dang
roll
it?
with the punches, dude.
Look,
your
I'm
first
curious.
name is Darth. Your first name
Okay.
is Darth from now
I'll
on.
take
All
that.
right.
Get that tattooed. Hello, Jake the Snake.
Hello. Appreciate the shout out.
Hello.
Dan, you okay with this type of strategy?
Yeah.
Take an edge in the first trade back on day 2 to get guard and center, D tackle, cornerback, whatever it is. Absolutely. Depending on where the Chargers land, because you see this a lot from certain teams when we're talking like the very back of the first round, depending on how far they go, because I think right now they're slated at 22. So however far they go in the playoffs, damn, they might actually do something that I've been asking for 10 years.
Wait.
10 years.
Wait. Before you say it, don't jinx us. Do something different this year. They're not gonna do it this year.
Fine.
Absolutely not.
They're not going to trade down. They're going to kill my dreams once again. They're going to disappoint me.
There you go.
Well, not just from a standpoint of would it be a smart move, but it's kind of by necessity, Dan. You need to recoup some of the draft capital that you lost from last year from the Adafe Owe trade. So you need to recoup a little bit of that. So I don't think there's a good chance at all of them trading down, even though they could.
Thank God we don't have Chiefs and Taylor Swift in the playoffs. Feels weird, right?
You're not going to get any argument from me.
Yep. Young Frog, Jake, why are you hating on the Chargers? We're going to the Super Bowl.
I stand corrected. I should have Super Bowl visions 100%. This team's going to be drafting 32 overall.
See?
I have no idea who they're going to draft. And honestly, who cares? Because they're going to win the Super Bowl anyways.
And
so
they don't need them.
They don't need them. That
That's
should be my mindset.
That's a fan. That is what a fan is all about. Attaboy. Beer has got some milk for sure. What are we doing here? Y'all are nuts. Hot topic. What's the best dip? And what is the vessel?
Ooh. This is a good question.
Okay, I have a off the wall answer to this. I've been a sucker for 7-layer dips. That's like been my thing.
It's always a good one.
But has anybody else had like the Greek version of a 7-layer dip where it's like hummus, tzatziki, Kalamata olives, red wine vinegar, tomatoes? Ugh. Dip chips or crackers into that puppy? I am gone. Absolutely gone. What's yours?
Dan, so maybe I'm late to the party on this. I'm not sure who has tried it or not. But Dan, have you tried the bitchin' sauce that's like in multiple different flavors?
Yeah.
Hell yes. That's become like my new thing, whether it's the Chipotle flavored or like the buffalo flavor. That stuff hits.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's probably become my new favorite. 7-layer dip you can never lose with that. I think it also depends on if we're talking about like what specific chips are we talking about. So it's like if we're talking Fritos, like okay, the Frito bean dip is always gonna kick with that.
Anything.
Exactly. If we're talking like Ruffles chips, are we talking about like a sour cream type of a dip? Anything that goes with that, like absolutely that works.
Happy New Year's Eve from Hawaii, says Rachel and Casey. Finally got to catch you folks live. Been a long-time listener. Love the podcast.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Jim with the question, what is your favorite taco?
You're not going to like my answer. Honestly, because I'm very simple when it comes to like either specifically like this. It's like if I'm ordering like a taco from Taco Bell, it's just going to be like a Taco Supreme. That's it. Nothing special about it. No extra trimmings that need to be on it. But I'm just a man of simple taste when it comes to that.
Now, racist. Tacos that strip us.
You flip that over to burritos, you can get really creative.
Any dip with cheese is fine, says Robert. Yeah, I'm with that.
Yes.
Any tacos from Tacos El Gordo? Never been there. Jake, have you been there?
I have not.
Hugo Boss says, birria tacos slap harder than Will Smith. We've reached that part of the show.
Happy New Year.
This is okay. Here's fighting words for some. Tacos or burritos? And Odula, you are wrong, by the way. It's burritos.
Here's the only reason that I would say burritos.
Okay.
Here's the only reason I would say burritos, because there's more, in my opinion, that you could get creative as far as the ingredients with them. 100%. Now, you could go berserk and be experimental with a taco for sure. But I think that there's much more that you could do. A burrito is much more of a versatile type of a play.
I will take burrito 10 out of 10 times.
There's nothing wrong with it either. I would still favor, like, if you came out to me and you said, like, hey, you want to get Mexican food or Italian food? I'm going to go Mexican food every single time, and it's going to be either a burrito or a taco. But if we're talking just that argument, I'm going to lean to the burrito.
Yeah, I'm with you. Patriots have 2 players getting felony charges. They should not play in the playoffs. Okay.
If we know anything about the NFL, we know that they do not carry out actions as it relates to those certain things until the legal process has played itself out. So expect both Stephon Diggs and Barrymore to play in the playoffs. I would much rather have them at full strength, to be perfectly honest. Be a good conversation to talk about the following day if the Chargers end up coming away with a win.
Mm-hmm. With you. Next voicemail.
Dan, Jake, this is Ethel. I have a question.
Happy New Year.
Question first.
Happy New Year.
What did I say a couple of weeks ago? Okay?
Which one?
I said I am out on this GM.
No, he said, first he said he wasn't going to call back.
First he said he wasn't going to call back. Then he called back without wasting a beat. Now he's referencing...
before that he said he wanted to fire Joe Ortiz. And then he said, I'm sorry, that's not what I meant.
Right.
I don't actually want to fire Joe Ortiz. Okay, so let's keep going.
And you, Dan, and Jake laughed at me and said, no, how can you say that? Fuck that draft picks.
What? Is he a Rams GM?
All right, let's let him finish. See if he can stick the landing.
Fuck the draft picks. I'm out on this motherfucker. My quarterback was fucking miserable last night against Houston. Okay? This offensive line, every one of them, besides Jamari Salio, is trash. I'm out on this GM. I don't trust him. I don't believe him anymore. And for the first time this year, I have no hope going into the playoffs. For the first time this year. And if I'm Justin Herbert, I walk straight to his office and tell my GM, fuck you, fuck this offensive line. I'm not playing against Denver. I'm not playing in the playoff until you figure this shit out. Have a nice day. Walk out. What the fuck they gonna do to Justin Herbert? Not a goddamn fucking thing.
Okay.
That's all.
He didn't stick the landing.
He crashed out. He crashed out for sure. Athir, okay, real quick before Jake responds. Athir, let's pump the brakes. Let's try to keep this somewhat family friendly. I love the passion. I love the energy. Yes. I love the fandom.
Go into the GM's office and say, charge you, charge everything, charge you until you get this figured out. 2026
comes to our forefront, and Athir has completely crashed.
Have not forgotten that Athir said that the Chargers are going to win 34-10 against the Houston Texans. Justin Herbert was going to be the MVP, throw for over 5,000 yards, have this, that, and the other. Look, I understand. Look, there is not a Chargers fan living that is not frustrated with the output from the offensive line. But guys, it's been there all season. This isn't something that is new. And like I said, I mentioned, I do not believe that Joe Ortiz is going to make the same mistake twice when it comes to protecting Justin Herbert. Because if we all remember the message that was sent from Joe Ortiz and Jim Harbaugh about how they quote unquote failed Justin Herbert last year. Think about what that message is going to be this year. The fact that he is still upright, but has taken the amount of hits that he's taken. There will be more changes, I believe, than just who is on the field to correct those offensive line problems. So I get it. There's nothing that we can do about it right now. It comes to a coaching standpoint where you have to adjust, which I also don't believe was done very well against the Houston Texans when you know how good of a defense that they have. When you let your tackles be out there one-on-one, maybe starting Bobby Hart at left tackle was not the right decision. Speaking of which, the last 2 times that we have seen 2 players get benched in favor of Austin Deculus, you know it's a bad day. You know it's a bad day. That was Trevor Penning that was in there in the Jacksonville game, and then it was Bobby Hart at left tackle, who's better suited for a right tackle. Let's just be honest about that. But again, we're not going to see any changes to it in the offseason. There's nothing that you could do about it right now. But what you can do is handle what you can control. Greg Roman has to call a little bit better of a game, has to call a better game for Justin Herbert, has to call a quicker game for Justin Herbert in that circumstance, especially if you're going up against a defense that's of the likes of Houston. And the players have to go out and execute better. So this is the hurdle that the Chargers have had to win in spite of all season. Because we weren't standing here saying stuff like this, even with the tough fought wins over Philly. I know we can have criticism over Greg Roman. I know we can have criticism over the offensive line. Yeah. But this is what the NFL is about, is overcoming shit like this. So those changes to the offensive line, they're not coming towards the offseason, but you got to do and overcome with what you've got right now.
Yeah, and again, like prisoner of the moment, right? Like, again, I respect and admire Athir's passion. But like to be that hell-bent on firing a GM that has won 11 games and 2 playoff bursts back-to-back years and has completely revamped basically the entire roster, even including the offensive line. Again, you can't make up for injuries, whatever. But you still won 11 wins. You still won 11 games. You're still going to the playoffs. They ain't even over yet. You want to fire a GM? You haven't even lost in the playoffs yet, if they do. Like, take the long road here for a sec. This has been a roller coaster of a year. And they've won 11 games. Like, here I am being the optimist again. But, like, I think it's important to just, like, put things in perspective here. You have a right to be upset. And it sucks to see what's going on with Justin Herbert because of the offensive line. Like, I get all that. But let's just take a breath. Jake, couple more minutes here, maybe 3 more minutes. Sorry, I'm broke. I spent over $1,500 on my Christmas toy drive, says Eddie. Dang. Anthony Jackson says, you guys ready for a HB dive up the middle?
I'd rather it go to the outside. I was sick and tired of seeing those runs go up the middle for sure when they weren't going anywhere, and essentially you haven't been able to run that direction or those lanes all season long. So yes, I am 100% ready. An HB dive up the middle.
Jake, it's the last episode of 2025 for us, which is wild.
Crazy.
Last question. Favorite part of 2025?
That's easy, my friend. When my wife and I got the news that we were finally pregnant.
Blessings.
For those of you who don't know, my wife and I have been trying for 5 years to make that happen. And we are now, as of today, we're 36 weeks along. So it's pretty much start the clock. At any point, it could happen right now. Easily the best moment of 2025. No question.
Love that. Congrats to you and the family. So excited for you guys in what? I get to say this year in 5 hours. Weird. Wow, I can do math. 5, 6, 7 and a half.
I think you need to start.
Yeah, it's time. Just take that bottle. You don't need a glass anymore. Yes, everyone in the chat, spam Jake on Twitter, spam him everywhere on YouTube. Big congrats to you, Jake, and the family. Long overdue. I cannot wait to see your life and your days as a dad, and being able to kind of walk these memories alongside of you as a dad is going to be so cool. Love you, buddy. But not to get all mushy-gushy, but thank you for being you. Been awesome. TNT's favorite part was beating the Chiefs twice.
That's a close second. That is a close second, because my wife in particular knows how much that I despise that team and how much I wanted to, because God, we were in Hawaii watching the Brazil game. And I remember, again, we were talking about, 3-hour time difference. It's just like, it was like 2:00 in the afternoon over there when the game came. We're watching this out by like the pool area, and I'm already kind of getting pissed for the way that the game started. And then after it, just the dramatic fashion in which they win that game. And then you fast forward to now, and especially just leading up to that game for the Chiefs, like they had everything in the world to play for. They were essentially a desperate team that they needed that win to stay in the playoff hunt. And you're just thinking to yourself, like, here it is. It's an Arrowhead, and here's where they're going to make everything click, and then they're going to go off on, no. Shut that door.
Slam it. Send
that
Cancun.
Felt great.
It did. 2025 is a wrap for us. This has been a ride like no other. Look for a fun way for us starting off 2026 with our next episode, so stay tuned for that. But Jake, this has been fun. Appreciate you. Appreciate all you folks for tuning in the comments. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe. Tell a friend. It's been a wild ride. It's just getting started. And to think it is just the beginning. Nuns Kuepe, as you would hear from Phillip Rivers. Jake, I'll let you send us home. Wrap it up for us.
Thank you to everyone for 2025, for the years prior. Again, just what you guys have helped do to this channel. Again, Dan and I are just two guys that ended up liking the same team, but like just talking football in general. And so it has been great through this journey to meet some of you at the games, to obviously talk to you every single week that we get an opportunity to do live shows like this. We appreciate you all, and we hope that all of you are doing well. We hope you all celebrate and bring in the new year in your own special way. And we have got NFL playoffs 2 weeks away. So we're not going anywhere. We got plenty to talk about here over the next couple of weeks, and hopefully beyond that, given the results. But again, thank you to every single one of you. Please be safe, whatever you guys are doing. Celebrate in the best possible ways that you can. Appreciate all of you.
For Jake, I'm Dan. It's Charge Unleashed. Happy 2025. It's almost a wrap, and we are on to 2026. Happy New Year, fam.
Did you know Microsoft has officially ended support for Windows 10? Upgrade to Windows 11 with an LG Gram laptop. Voted PC Mag's Reader's Choice Top Laptop Brand for 2025. Thin and ultra lightweight, the LG Gram keeps you productive anywhere. And Windows 11 gives you access to free security updates and ongoing feature upgrades. Visit lgusa.com/iHeart for great seasonal savings on LG Gram laptops with Windows 11. PC Mag Reader's Choice used with permission. All rights reserved.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening. Happy holidays. Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy Holiday.